Spoiler warning, I'll be discussing events of the webtoon up till about chapter 63. Because of your ancestors' crimes, you became a slave as soon as you were born. You fell in love with your master's son. He became the only thing that made you happy in that house. Then you became pregnant, and now he wants nothing to do with you. All alone, you go through your pregnancy, and with no one there by your side to hold your hand or reassure you, you give birth in the stables. However, you were told your child didn't make it. Sadness overwhelms you. This is no way to live, you think to yourself, and you finally decide to run away. That is when you run into a young, handsome man who kindly takes you in. A warm feeling blossoms in your chest. Sorrow is overtaken by hope, and for the first time in a long time, you feel truly happy. This is no ordinary man. He is the emperor of the Eastern Empire, and he is head over heels in love with you of all people. This is my chance, you say to yourself. You did nothing wrong. You were just unfortunate enough to be born to the wrong parents. But now, you have found a safe place and someone who will love you. Only one person stands in the way of your happiness, the Empress. If you can get rid of her, you will have the Emperor and his empire all for yourself. If Rashta were the heroine of this webtoon, her goal would be to live a safe life with someone who loves her. However, she is the antagonist, and her goal is to take down the protagonist, Empress Navier, and everything she has. Rashta's greed and selfishness are toxic and entertaining. She pushes Navier beyond her comfort zone, and we, the readers, want to know how Navier will respond to the changes happening in her life. Rashta meets Navier for the first time. It's exciting, like meeting a celebrity. The Emperor likes her, so surely the Empress will show her favor as well and welcome her into their home. Maybe they can even be sisters. After all, they have the same husband. Rashta was a slave. Naturally, she doesn't know anything about etiquette. Rashta honestly just wanted to be close to Navier, but wanting to be friends with the person whose husband you stole is an insult, even more so when you force friendship on them, as Rashta does to Navier. That is how the conflict between them begins, due to a difference in upbringing. The Remarried Empress crafted an interesting antagonist who thinks differently and acts differently compared to the protagonist. The web novelist uses these differences to create conflict. Most antagonists would attack the main character, poison them, or frame them. Rashta, being a sensitive person, cries. Her vulnerability is her strength. It puts Navier in a bad position. However, she truly becomes a threat when she meets Duke Urgi from the Western Kingdom. He teaches her tactics to manipulate public perception and opinion so that people look favorably on her and dislike Navier. For Rashta, Duke Urgi is her one true friend in the whole palace. When rumors about her being a slave start circulating again, he tells her to create gossip about someone else. Their target, unfortunately, is Navier's friend, Duchess Tuanya. Duke Urgi is also the one who helps Rashta become Empress. Rashta becomes pregnant for Emperor Sovyeshu, but her child will never be accepted as a royal. Worse, if Sovyeshu ever felt like it, he could throw Rashta and her child onto the streets. She can't let that happen. With Duke Urgi's help, Rashta forms a plan. She begins talking to journalists to improve her reputation amongst the people. Her end goal is to gain the public's favour. Her path to becoming Empress is going well. Witnesses gather. Rashta stands by Sovyeshu's side, and in front of everyone, Sovyeshu announces his divorce to Navier. Rashta smirks. All her sorrow, hardships and torment, everything she endured has led her to this moment. She has finally gotten rid of the Empress. But then... But is Rashta truly the antagonist of this story? Navier and Soviet had been friends for many years, since childhood even. They got married and became the Emperor and Empress of the Eastern Empire. One day, out of the blue, Navier finds out her childhood friend and husband has brought another woman into their marriage. How could she have thought that the one she had trusted most would betray her? But Navier does what she does best. She remains calm and rational. Navier goes to her secret place. Laying on the rough chair, she cries her heart out. The cold wind caresses her face, drying her tears. All the emotions she had been holding in throughout the day, she finally lets out, in private. The next day, Navier finds Rashta in her secret garden, sitting on her favourite chair. Navier clenches her fists. This is the Empress's property and the Empress's special garden, the only place Navier feels safe, the only place she can get away from the drama, and now in front of her is Rashta. Navier hides her emotions. She settles the rage boiling in her stomach and resists the urge to yell. Instead, she calmly lets Rashta know that the area is off limits. That night, Soviet storms into Navier's room. His face contorted in anger, he demands to know why Navier made Rashta cry. Again, Navier is being told off. Navier did nothing wrong, so why is she always the one being scolded? Soviet won't even reason with her or consider her side of the story. An antagonist is the one who pushes the protagonist further away from their goal, which forces the protagonist to change. While it is Rashta who is trying to push Navier away from being empress, it is Soviet who deals the final blow. Soviet married his childhood friend, but he isn't satisfied. She acts coldly and never smiles, even when he gifts her jewelry and expensive things. One day, whilst out hunting, he meets a wide-eyed, white-haired girl. Intrigued, he brings her into the palace. She smiles when she's happy, cries when she's sad, and pouts when she doesn't get what she wants. She's the exact opposite of his wife. But he can't abandon his childhood friend, so Soviet would just have them both. A fitting empress to help him rule his empire, and a soft, cute woman waiting for him when he returns to his room. It only gets more complicated when Soviet's mistress becomes pregnant. About 5 or so years ago, Soviet accidentally fed Navier poisoned food. The poison causes infertility. He never told Navier, instead choosing to keep it a secret. And he carried that burden, hoping that one day Navier and him would conceive a child. But it never happened. And now Rashta is his only chance to get an heir. Because Rashta is only a concubine, and Navier won't adopt the child as her own, his child won't be accepted in high society. His solution is to divorce Navier, marry Rashta, then divorce Rashta after she has given birth, so that he can marry Navier again. But it all goes terribly wrong. Each character in the Remarried Empress has their own goal. Rashta's goal is to keep her child safe and live a life of comfort. The first step is to get rid of Navier. The second is to marry Soviet and become empress. The third is to continue being empress forever. So Soviet's plan to divorce Rashta never would have worked. Navier's goal is to be a ruler who cares for her people. When she finds out that Soviet plans to divorce her, she acts quickly and remarries. Rashta didn't exactly drive Navier out. It was Navier who took action while Soviet continued to be selfish. We can see how character motivation drives the plot in The Remarried Empress. Analyzing the webtoon helps us learn how such a great story came to be. If you want a full breakdown of how to make a webtoon like The Remarried Empress, I've written a blog post on my website. The link can be found down below. The story is still ongoing, and I'm so excited to find out what happens to the empire without Navier and what Navier's marriage to Henry will be like. I got some spoilers whilst doing research for this video, and I honestly can't wait to see everything unfold.